Good day everyone, we are the group 4 and we are going to tackle about content-based syllabus in teaching of English for specific purposes. We have the objectives. First, understand what is the content-based syllabus and its characteristics. Second, identify the challenges and techniques in the implementation of content-based syllabus in ESP. And third, realize the role of content-based syllabus in teaching ESP. As ESP is concerned with teaching English language for any specific purposes, syllabus is one of the most useful materials to guide the teachers and the students with the flow of teaching and learning process. Nowadays, universities are not concerned with just learning English anymore, but are more concerned as to what the students can do with the English language. English language learning correlates positively with success in other content areas and promotes an interdisciplinary view of the curriculum. In this turn has brought about change in the way in which English language is being taught. The rationale for English for specific purposes courses in higher education wishes to implement language instruction taking into account specific educational needs. Such didactic aims can be fostered by content-based syllabus, a valuable kind of syllabus which enhances both language acquisition and academic success by the incorporation of content materials into language classes. In this lesson, content-based syllabus for teaching English for specific purposes will be the content including its definition, characteristics, challenges, techniques, and examples on ESP. So what is content-based syllabus? This kind of syllabus focuses on the kind of instruction in which the primary purpose is to teach some content or information using the language that students are learning. In this kind of syllabus, the subject matter is primary and the language learning occurs accidentally through learning content. Content-based syllabus, according to Rayleigh, is a language teaching syllabus involves the integration of subject or what to talk about and linguistic matter or how to talk about. This is the actual matter that makes up teaching. Content-based syllabus is an effective syllabus that combines language and content learning together. Content-based syllabus is a kind of syllabus in which teachers are asked to focus on content or information of the language. Less or indirect effort is used to teach the language itself separately from the content. According to Noonan, 1988, it is the teaching of content or information in the language being learned with little or no direct to teach the language itself separately from the content being taught. The primary purpose is to teach some content or information using the language that the students are also learning. From this given definition, content-based syllabus primarily concerned with the teaching an specific content or information where the language being learned is applied through the process of learning. Meaning, the language being learned serves as the medium for instruction and learning where the students learn the content and the language at the same time. The content is what to talk about while the language is identified as how to talk the content. The language being learned by the students serves as a tool for learning a content.
Now is the characteristics of content-based syllabus in English for specific purposes. The first one is the theory of languages. The theory of language assumed by the content-based instruction embrace the full range of the communicative competence. The first one is the structural component or the grammatical competence. The second one is the sociolinguistic and discourse competence, and the last one is the strategic competence. Second one is the main focus of designing. According to Hutchinson and Waters in 1983, as cited by Noonan in 1993, the best work in ESP are usually focuses on a process rather than the product. However, in the real-world situations, language often acts as a means in the process of completing a task. Therefore, ESP should pay attention to not only the process of learning but also the product. The third one is the way of grading a task. With ESP and content-based syllabus, an obvious means of grading content is within the reference to concepts associated with the subject questions according to Noonan in 1993. Therefore, an ESP course should be organized by classroom activities which combines specific practical aspects and general theoretical aspects. The last characteristic is the balance of content and language. Content should be the vehicle of language learning according to Hadley in 2001. The balance of content and language is also important. In a content-based syllabus, the language is the bone and skeleton. The content is the flesh and blood, and the language could be seen as a means to complete a content task.
The challenges of content-based syllabus. Since grammar and vocabulary are not explicitly taught, language accuracy is greatly influenced by the feedback students receive and the amount of time the teacher is prepared to spend to assisting such students through tutorials and other assistance. Similarly, because there are no particular language topics in the syllabus to be explored, assessing the extent of language and vocabulary exploration during class time is difficult, and this is more likely to depend on teachers' approaches to syllabus and how it is implemented in classrooms. Eski called this challenge traditional accuracy or fluency problem, and content-based courses tend to come down heavily on the side of fluency, and adhering to grammar in any systematic way is challenging within a communicative paradigm. Written output, drafting, and oral presentations are the components where accuracy is also focused on and evaluated. However, a better balance between fluency and accuracy is needed, which could be developed through research on teachers' attitudes and lesson practices, or even through constructive peer observations. Another issue at hand is the role of students and teachers, as well as the moderation and exploitation of authentic materials. Some students struggle to adapt to their new roles as independent students. Some classes still employ traditional classroom teaching, which is why this change in perspective about their roles is challenging. However, it is worth noting that the majority of students enjoy the variety of texts presented, and contrary to common belief, providing authentic materials and fun activities stimulates the learner's learning experiences. Thus, engaging them to various texts in a meaningful and enjoyable manner associates the idea that through content-based teaching, learners develop language abilities while becoming more educated global citizens. The biggest challenge for content-based syllabus is their lack of exposure to other cultures and world history, and also how strong the indoctrinated beliefs, religious or national ideologies often come into play and lead to prejudices or a lack of willingness to participate. Teachers must establish a fine balance between supplying for lacking schemata, that is, how much time will be allotted to background information and lectures, and language practice, in which students take responsibility while regulating the language to ensure maximum comprehensibility. Given this, the materials and in-class activities should be chosen and designed with attention, so that they are presented coherently in a thematic organization and reinforced by visual representations. Techniques and activities for the implementation of content-based syllabus. There are a variety of strategies and techniques used in content-centered second language instruction. First, we have the cooperative learning. In this method, students of different linguistic and educational backgrounds and different skill levels work together on a common task for a common goal, in either the language or the content classroom. Cooperative groups encourage students to communicate, to share insights, test hypotheses, and jointly construct knowledge. Second is task-based or experiential learning. In this approach, appropriate contexts are provided for developing thinking and study skills, as well as language and academic concepts for students of different levels of language proficiency. Students learn by carrying out specific tasks or projects, for example, doing science and not just reading about it. Third, we have the whole language approach. Crandall 1994 states that the philosophy of whole language is based on the concept that students need to experience language as an integrated whole. It focuses on the need for an integrated approach to language instruction within a context that is meaningful to students. Whole language strategies that have been implemented in a content-centered language classes include dialogue journals, reading response journals, learning logs, process-based writing, and language experiences stories. Next are graphic organizers. These provide a means for organizing and presenting information so that it can be understood, remembered, and applied. Graphs, realia, tables, maps, flowcharts, timelines, and Venn diagrams are used to help students place information in a comprehensible context. They enable students to organize information obtained from written or oral text, develop reading strategies, increase retention, activate schema as a pre-reading or pre-listening activity, and organize ideas during the pre-writing stage. Another is a project work. Project work is particularly effective because it represents a natural extension of what is already taking place in class. It focuses on content learning rather than on specific language targets. It is also student-centered and cooperative rather than competitive. Students can work on their own, in small groups, or as a class to complete a project work. Project work leads to the authentic integration of skills and processing of information from varied sources, mirroring real-life tasks. Project work culminates in an end product such as an oral presentation, a poster, a report, or a stage performance that can be shared with others, giving the project a real purpose. And also, project work usually results in building student confidence, self-esteem, and autonomy, as well as improving students' language skills, content learning, and cognitive abilities. Lastly, we have the web quest. Marco 2002 has proposed that the web quest can be used in a content-based syllabus for ESP. This activity involves the use of authentic material from different internet sources and engages students in reading extensively on a topic related to their discipline, performing tasks of increasing complexity, and creating oral and written text to present the results of their online work.
Here are some examples of a content-based syllabus in ESP course. First example, employing authentic reading materials, which requires students not only to understand information, but to interpret and evaluate it as well. It provides a forum in which students can respond orally to reading and lecture materials. It recognizes that academic writing follows from listening and reading, and thus requires students to synthesize facts and ideas from multiple sources as preparation for writing. In this approach, students are exposed to study skills and learn a variety of language skills which prepare them for the range of academic tasks they will encounter. In a content-based approach, the activities of the language class are specific to the subject matter being taught and are geared to stimulate students to think and learn through the use of the target language. Here's another example, studying the French Revolution while using the French language. The language being learned and used is taught within the context of the content. In the content-based instruction approach, the student learns the taught language by using it to learn some other new content. The theory behind content-based instruction is that when students are engaged with more content, it will promote intrinsic motivation. Students will be able to use more advanced thinking skills when learning new information and will focus less on the structure of the language. This approach is very student-centered, as it depends entirely on the student's ability to use the language. Another example of content-based language teaching is a science class taught in the language the student needs or want to learn, possibly with linguistic adjustment to make the science more comprehensible. In a content-based syllabus, since it primarily focuses on the content or the information and language are not presented directly. Once the students learn the context of the content, the knowledge of words follows. In a science class, if the teacher wants to teach his student the English language, then he will teach the subject using that language. And students grasp the language by understanding the content being taught. Students cannot learn a word unless they know its meaning. The process of learning the language is not acquired by just listening to it, but by knowing what a word or thing signifies.
So here are the examples of content-based syllabus in ESP. At the Colchester English Study Center, Joanne Allwright, who teaches English for medical studies, conducted a short course for visiting medical professionals with the aim of improving their English for professional discourse purposes. To better analyze needs, learners were asked to complete a self-report questionnaire identifying the areas of the needs in their communication skills. Participants were then asked to participate in case conference simulations based on real medical cases. Following the simulations, the teacher shared actual clinical solutions to the cases and provide feedback on language, according to Allwright and Allwright 1977. So from this example, we can see that the teachers expose their students for medical experiences to learn medical-related cases, which is the content of the study, while they learn English for medical professionals discourse, where they learn English language for their medical studies. Another example of content-based syllabus is based on a needs analysis of final year projects for engineering students at Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. Lecturer Lynn Flower-Dew targeted the development of students' critical thinking skills, identifying the genre of problem solutions as critical to students' ability to complete this project. She also obtained sample from the engineering department, analyzing the constituents elements of these final projects. Students in ESL course were instructed to identify a project focus. Then they received instruction in the genre of the problem solution report. Drafts of these reports will receive instructor feedback. Students were also required to double-check the feasibility of their solutions with a subject specialist according to Flower-Dew 2000. So, at this example, students are given a collaborative work project as the content in this group activity. Students are able to practice English language through communicating with their groupmates.
Generalization. Content-based syllabus in teaching English for specific purposes focus on the content of the subject matter, and language learning occurs on the process of learning the content. The language being learned is applied while teaching the main content and information. In this kind of syllabus, the students learn through the application of the language while learning an specific content. It gives students a good amount of confidence on their English language skills and make the overall comprehension of the language. Content-based syllabus is a successful means to develop foreign language learning by exploiting the possibilities offered by content knowledge.